It's time for confession time. I was ready when I turned off the camera last night to just scrap this whole project and start over. However, I posted what I had done so far on Instagram and asked other people. I said, what do you do when you hit this point? You're done, you're frustrated, you don't even want to keep dealing with the project you're dealing with. And so many people encouraged me to try and finish it, at least keep going, see what happens. Part of what was frustrating me was how thick it was getting because of the gussets on the sides of the pockets. Also, I think part of it was this is 90 weight paper, so this is heavier. This isn't quite a heavy cardstock, but it is more of a cardstock weight. So it's more stiff. What I've done, this is a stack of books that I have that I use sometimes to stack upon things. I'm just going to move that off. And now I've squished it for a while. I may, when I'm done, squish it for another day, but it is closing better. So the whole closure idea is working. It's fitting better all together. With that said, we are going to sully forth and tally-ho and all that rot and keep going with this. I think we're in a good place to keep going, and we're just going to see what happens when I finish it up. Now, I do want to go back and ink up the edges of this piece because I did not ink up this part, the cover, at all. So now that everything is inked up, what I want to do, I want to cut some of these, cut this piece up as the cover for this. And I need to get a couple of measurements before I start cutting this. I want it to come in a little bit more than what this side has done. So this I only came in 1/4 of an inch. I think I may take it in, well, I don't know. This may look real, I think I'll leave it at that. So I came in 1/4 of an inch. This is 8 3/4, so if I make it 8 1/2, that will work great. And this part is 4 1/2, so I want 4 1/4. Exactly, 8 1/2 and 4 1/4. Let's cut that piece off first, and I know I want it from this end. So we know that this piece is already 8 1/2 this way because this is 8 1/2 by 11. I just need to cut 4 1/4 this direction. So grabbing this piece here, I like my handy dandy cutter. I would like a different one though, and if you guys want to comment below if you use a different one. I have a really hard time seeing these numbers. Maybe I've tried going over them with pencil, it helps. Maybe I need to go over them maybe with something that's white, something that helps it show up. Otherwise, I may have to get a new one because it is just really hard to see a lot of times. 4 1/4, and I've got to get down in here, excuse my head. Let's see, because this is where I struggle. I believe that's 4 1/4. And then, yep, that should be 4 1/4. Let's see where we are. Yay! It actually worked. That is what I want here. Let me go ahead and ink this around, and then we're going to glue it down, so I'll get all of that done. And then we need to figure out the back and this part. Also, I think I'm going to sew around all of these pieces. I'll do that in a little bit. But I do, like I said, I want to ink everything. This part is now inked, and I'm going to go ahead and glue this part. No, I don't want to glue this part on yet. I don't want to glue this part on yet because I want to sew around it. So that means we've got to do some math here. So the back side, this part should take 4.5 inches. Let's see what we've got. Famous last words. Let's look at this again. This is 4.5, again, 4.25 should work fine. I'm going to cut, let's see where 4.25 hits on this rose. Ooh, that is going to be really pretty. I like where that falls. This will be 4.25 also. Yes, so that matches up. Then the last part I need is this. I'm going to leave this open, I think, and I may put some lace there just to make that pretty. What this is, that's 1.5. This should be, I think yeah, let's make this 1.25, this strip 1.25. Let's see where 1.25 would be. That would cut that rose off pretty much, but that would leave this part. That's going to be really pretty. I like that idea. I'm going to drop this over here. I've learned that if I don't hold things exactly. Oh, here's the interesting thing. I don't know if you can see this, but I'm cutting this strip exactly in half. That's just how the math worked. I can then, after I've cut it in half, I can choose which side I want to use. How's that for pretty awesome? Let's take a look then. If this piece is on the front, which will look something like that, and this piece is here, do we want that piece or do we want that piece? You guys have got to yell a little bit louder because I'm not going to hear you at this rate. Let's go with this piece. This pink looks pretty here. I like that. This is a little just too much gray. We're going to go with this part here. Perfect. Now, I'm going to take a moment, ink the rest of these up. I need to ink this piece. I need to ink this piece. Plus, before I ink this piece, I need to round the corners. Yesterday, I used this 1/2 inch. And we're going to round these corners again. These are We Are Memory Keepers punches, by the way. If you were thinking to yourself, I wonder what those are. They are We Are Memory Keepers. I found that I was going through corner punches a wee bit too fast because I use them on all kinds of crazy things. These are not indestructible, but pretty darn close to indestructible. We have got everything cut that we need. Perfect. I am going to take a moment now and ink all of these. Everything is now inked. I have, this is the back, this is the other side, this is the last piece. This is what I'm going to use for the front. And you'll see this is left plain. You'll see why I wanted something really plain for the front. I am going to now turn off the camera. Again, go stow around all of these pieces. I will be back in a moment. Stitching is all done. I have stitched around the flat piece. I left all the strings. I love strings. We're keeping all the strings. This is the front. It doesn't show up real well, but I did a slightly different pattern here, then did the zigzag here because this is the front. Then this is the back, and I kind of did some zigzag and straight stitching around this as well. Time to glue these on. Going to use my handy dandy acetone-based fabric, Fabrifix. I think we'll start right here with this piece. And as usual, it's a little gummed up. Hopefully that gets enough off of it. One of the tricks that I have found or have had to mess around with, you can kind of see that my stitching pulls a little bit here. I tend to have to play with my tension when I'm stitching on paper. It depends on how thick the paper is, whether I need to lower my tension. I find I need to lower my upper tension and or lower my bottom tension. So there's a whole lot of different things. Play around with your machine. If you do sewing with your sewing machine, you may find that it's almost always a tension issue if you are struggling to get things to look right on the top and the bottom. All right, I need to pull this down just a tad because I have it way too high, I think. Get the strings out from underneath of it. I want those strings out where we can see them. Push this down. Because this is curved, I want to hold this for a little bit of extra time. Oh, and I've got it a wee bit crooked, don't I? Let's pull that up a little bit and see if we can straighten that up. There we go. I'm not always a perfectionist. However, I do like things to at least look semi-straight, like I actually meant to do it. I think, let's try this. I'm going to lay this out flat. There we go. So laying it out flat seems to make a big difference. And I want to let this dry just a little bit. Looks like I need to go back and do a little bit of inking here. Time to do this side, and this piece is what is going to go in here, and it fits down in this section right here. Let's grab our ink and glue this down. I do like to glue over my thread just to make sure. I mean, I don't think it's going to pull out, but I still like to glue over my threads. It's kind of a habit I have. I've never actually had a problem with the glue seeping through the holes. I don't think that's going to be an issue, but maybe some people have and they're saying, no, don't do that. All right, let me get this tucked up under this part. This is the thread that I used for my signature, and try to line this up sort of like it's on purpose. All right, there we go. Going to get this all down. Now it looks like this. We have this on the front, this on the back. I'm right-handed, so I wanted the flap on this side. I believe also more traditionally the flaps do go on the right-hand side if you're doing that sort of work. Make sure that's out. Make sure this is all pressed down and going to stick and not pop off on me. So this last part, I'm going to move this over so that you can see, but also so that I can see and make sure I get everything facing the same direction. That would be sad to have things not all facing the same direction. Then I would be disappointed. Here we go. Get some good glue on this piece. There we go. And we're going to put this here on this piece right here. Slide that out just a wee bit, slide it down just a wee bit. Again, part of what I like about this glue is it gives me a little bit of extra time. You've seen me rip things off and glue them back down again. It gives me a little bit of extra time because I don't always line things up well the first time around. We're done with the glue for now, but I'm not going to put it far because the next thing I want to do is do a closure for all of this. My plan is I'm going to actually use Velcro. And the reason I want to do Velcro is because I like these little dots and I want something that I can access quickly. If I've got these real pretty bows or I've got things all tied up or whatever, I'm not going to want to use this, this particular piece. And the whole reason I'm doing this is because I need to use it. I need to keep track of my taxes, right? So the easiest way I have found to do this is we're going to stick those two pieces together and then let's see. I think I'm going to do the clear piece on this side. Let's see how far over this is going to go. Let's do it this way. I'm going to stick them this way together in here. There's that one. And then we just need to close this over the top, make sure that's lined up and that's lined up, and then press this down. And I'm going to leave this closed for right now and let that kind of stick a little bit better because now we're going to go to the really fun part, which is my favorite part, which is we're going to decorate. I have all these awesome pieces that are from this whole kit from Dot's Inspiration Studio. I'm not sure what she's going by now. She and her husband do all of this, but Isa also does her own journals. So there's a lot of things. Ooh, okay, this needs to have 2021 on it. That is for sure. I'll need to add that. But we have all these wonderful, wonderful pieces. We have some tags. We have the number 3. Ooh, I like that. We have some postcards, some bingo cards, another one. Let's see what we can do with these pieces. That's pretty as well. I like this card. I think we're going to definitely need a clock on there. I definitely think we need a title. I think that piece needs to go somewhere, maybe up here. Maybe we'll cut the clock in half. Would that be just totally wild and crazy or what? Maybe we'll cut the clock in half and we'll do half on the front and half on the back. I think we're going to go for it. We're just going to do it. We're just going to do it. As Nick the Booksmith is fond to say, that's the 12, that's the 1, so this will be in half and it should still be right side up. We're going to glue this down here with it kind of, you know, half there. I know, wild and crazy, right? These I've also already inked up. I'm going to, let's do this right inside that stitching. And then we'll do the other half right inside the stitching on this side. Oh no, that'll cover up the rows. We're not going to do that. Maybe we'll put it up here. We can be wild and crazy and put it another place. There's nothing that says we have to keep things all matchy-matchy and put things where they want to be. We're going to just do that. I'm going to do it just inside that stitching because I do want this zigzag to still show. We'll put that up there. Now we have some real pretty stuff. Oh, ooh, look at this ticket. Maybe we want to use a ticket. No, I like this. Oh, some tough decisions. I think this is going to go better. Maybe we tuck it here. Ooh, we could tuck it in with the clock, right above the clock. Maybe we'll use this ticket on the back. And let me see. Let me make sure there isn't something else. That's really cool. What I love about these is these are all kind of office-y things, but they're so pretty. That was part of what I wanted with this whole set, was that it was something really pretty. And maybe we'll just leave this blank for right now. I think I do want that there. And before I change my mind, I'm going to glue this down. Because I don't want to change my mind later. But we're going to need to tuck that. Maybe ooh, there we go. We're going to put it down here. And then this, I need to write 2021 on it. So I'm going to just grab a Sharpie. I'm not really good at writing, so you're going to kind of get just whatever comes out. A 2, a 0, another 2, and a 1. There we go. Looks pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that. We have our 2021. That also needs to now go on the front. Now, I did not sew around any of these pieces, and I'm okay with that. I think we've got plenty of stitching on here already. This may need to go more centered, though. I think I'm going to do that. Let's see what that looks like when we redo that. I like it. We're going to let it be underneath this. So that balances. I think it's a little too far to we're going to move it over a little bit more. There we go. Now, so that's tucked under there. I definitely want this ticket back here. We're going to put it down in this corner. I think we will. We're going to put that ticket down in the corner. All right, so we are almost done. If you hear any talking in the background, that's my husband. He's on his phone. He's making lots of phone calls tonight, but we're going to put this right here. So now we have the clock here and this one ticket here. Like I said, backs of books should not be blank or boring, so we've added a couple of pieces there. We've added a couple of pieces here. I don't really feel like this needs anything. It's a small strip. Let's take a look at what we have so far. I may choose to go back and do some other things. I did, remember, I cut up some time cards. These are a little bit shorter. We'll just put those time cards right in here. And then I think what I may do is on the top of the time card, well, I think I need to put something on each of these that has the month, that indicates the month. And my other thought is then, do I also take these cards and turn them more into a tag? I haven't quite figured that part out, but let's go ahead and put these all in for now. Actually, we'll just put those two in for right now. I think we need a little something more. We need something up here at the top. We need little bits and pieces up there. I have all of these fabulous scrap pieces. Maybe we do some stuff with that. I have all of these fabulous scrap pieces as well. So for right now, I'm going to take a break, think about it, but I am actually at this point really glad that I kept going. We are down to the last few things to finish up this folio. The one thing I need to add now are the monthly indicators, whatever you want to call these things. These are about 2 inches. I'm not sure how tall they are. About 1 1/4 by 2 inches. I cut them all to be about the same size. I am going to grab my deco side of this. Stub is the other side. This is a We Are Memory Keepers. Going to go all the way around and do all 4 corners using this corner punch. Oh, let's go back and do that one more time. Let me see if I can get that to line up. There we go. These are really heavy-duty corner punches, which is why I bought them. I was going through corner punches really fast. Did not like that I kept having to replace them. So I went ahead and invested in some rather heavy-duty hole punches. Last but not least, we're going to ink around the edges. Glue this down. Then there's only one more thing I want to show you, and we will take a look. Well, actually, we'll finish putting this whole thing together and take a look at this together. Hopefully, like I said, I'm loving the papers. I love a lot of things about this. I don't like how bulky it ended up, so I recommend that maybe you make it wider instead of so narrow. I'm going to put that there. So now we have January in the front. Oh, and I know a lot of you are going to ask about this hand thing. I got this from scrapbook.com. I don't think they sell it anymore. However, I have heard rumor that people on Etsy do. The last thing I need is I will show you all of these in a minute, but I've made tags for every month. That way I have space on the back to record every month all of the different expenses that I have. If you know anything about bookkeeping and keeping stuff for taxes, you do need to keep track of your expenses. To make these tags, I used just a standard time card, nothing special. I took it and I cut it down to 7 inches. We're going to do that real quick here. I like having the top here, I feel like that looks better, but you can flip it over and cut the bottom off too. No right answers. There we go. It is now that 7-inch mark. Then, again, using my deco, here we go. I simply cut the top corners, not the whole thing. You know, you could angle it, you could leave them flat, doesn't really matter. Then I am going to just stress this real quick. Next we need to make a tab. I want my tabs to have 2 sides to them. So I'm going to show you how I do that. This is a 2-inch scrap of paper I have left over from making these. I simply fold this in half. You could score it if you would prefer. I just want to not get out my scoreboard. But I do recommend that you use a bone folder or just really press it down tight. I find it fits better into the tab punch. So I'm using a We Are Memory Keepers tab punch. And I don't even remember who I learned this from. I won't even go there for right now. But I love the look right here. So what you want to do is take the top of this where the fold is. So this is the folded edge up here at the top, not down here at the bottom. But don't go all the way up into here. You'll end up with 2. You want it just to line up right at that edge without going all the way to the top. And then you just punch it like that. Now you have a 2-sided tab instead of just a 1-sided tab. Again, must ink everything for this folio. I just like that look. And it worked so well with these papers. These are just, I cannot go over enough how gorgeous these papers are. With the 2 sides, we don't need to actually glue both sides, but we do need to glue both edges. My thought, the way I started doing this was to go around the edges, then only put the glue on one side. There we go. I'm going to put this here, then you simply wrap it around. and line it up. Kind of in the middle-ish-esque, and squeeze. And wipe off all the extra sticking to your fingers. Next up, I want to decorate this a little bit. I have this gorgeous piece. This is my last piece left from this whole kit. I'm going to leave it as a tag, but I do want to punch this really white middle part out. That way it's not quite so white. I also want to add some decorative layering maybe on here. Yes, I'm going to do that. I am going to tear that off because I don't need that. I like using some, I'm going to use, this is actually old vintage 1920s ledger paper that I have left over from another project. And I loved the look that this was ledger paper, since this is kind of an officey theme I'm doing here. I'm going to do that right about there, and then trim off the excess. I love this piece as well. And so let's cut that piece a little bit shorter. Almost like using washi tape, if you will. Let's see if we layer this up like that. And it's just kind of fun. I like to add lots of little layers to my tags. This is just kind of a fun thing. And it incorporates a little bit more of this paper in, just gorgeous paper, into this whole project. And I love that there's music. Some of these papers have ledger, some of them have just script writing. And this has already been inked. I did that a while ago. I probably, if I had been really smart, would have inked that piece I just glued down, but I didn't. And we're going to move on. I'm not going to go back and do something else with it. Ah, that looks gorgeous too. This is one of my cards that I will be using. And we will go ahead just sliding that right into here. And I'm going to show you all the different tags. If you are interested in seeing how these were all made, I have a separate tutorial coming up that I will post in the next week on how to make all these different tags. So we just made that one. This one is made with a book page and one of the pieces from this kit. I made two with book pages. Then I decided to make a tutorial, and so I did different tags for different things on different tags. So this was using a die cut, a Tim Holtz die cut, and just some regular piece of paper. Then this one was actually using some Tim Holtz. I love, this is the packaging for some Tim Holtz items that I've purchased in the past. I saved that. This one I simply took coffee dyed tracing paper. I didn't realize I'd picked up two, so I just want to show you this. This is now a double ticket because I accidentally glued the tab over two of them, which explains why I lost one somewhere along the line. So I have two there. The next one was using mulberry paper. That one can go here. So I grabbed a bunch of scraps and they're all different. So this one is actually coffee dyed music paper. It's not vintage, it's fairly new. This is the other book page. Love that number 3 on the front. This is using some more of that journal paper. I should have 12, we'll see. This was simply doing some stenciling, which I thought was totally fun. For this piece of paper, this is actually parchment, coffee dyed parchment paper. I used this We Are Memory Keepers edge punch to punch along the edges of that. That was fun. This last one is probably my favorite. This was one where I embossed just some regular coffee dyed paper and then cut out a piece, just a regular piece of leftover scrap paper for that one. That is my folio. I decided not to go back and put any lace over either of these ends. I really like the look of the manila. It simply now gets folded in. We'll see if that holds. There we go. This is my 2021 tax receipt folio. I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial, and I hope I've inspired you to be creative today.